And if you're just joining us live on Zoom, we are looking at the Thursday tasks on our HyperDoc today. So starting here on Thursday, estimated time for today is 2 hours. So we'll be working on this for the about 40 minutes in class. We're clicking on the serial web page. And what I'd like you to do, using the photograph resources available, in addition to your understanding and instincts from listening to the first episode, you will identify evidence and analyze it, asserting and defending whether or not Adnan is guilty or innocent. So when we go to the serial website, there are a lot of resources here. There's Asia's letter to Adnan, Asia's affidavit, the Best Buy parking lot, the timelines. And I would also reiterate something that the narrator mentioned in that first episode, that we're looking at basically a 21-minute window. So in addition to listening to Jay's version of the story and Adnan's version of the story, we have to ask ourselves, is it really possible that Adnan, in those 21 minutes, strangled Hay without anybody seeing and drove her body out to Leakin Park with Jay? Because Jay had a lot of details about how the body was disposed of. So using our analytical skills, the idea is you start here. Just start with the simple part. What I think, what do I think about this? Reasons why Adnan might be guilty. So Connor, if I could ask your opinion on that. Reasons why you think Adnan might be guilty.
Based off the not the evidence, but like his reasonings behind like what they did that night.
So Jay's testimony.
Yeah.
Okay, so Connor said because of Jay's testimony, those are certainly reasons. Jay had an awful lot of details that coincided with how the crime may have been committed. Good. Ashton, what do you think about reasons why Adnan might be innocent? Okay, that Asia's, sorry, go ahead. That Asia is pretty clear that she saw him at the library during that 21-minute window. Very good. Yes, those are both compelling reasons. So that's what you would do. You would say what I think, but then you would actually choose evidence. So concrete details from either the podcast or from those letters from the website. That's what you will include with your evidence. Does that make sense? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, perfect. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to start on that first one. Yeah, if you are at a point where you have chosen your evidence to support both of those for the first one, then I want you to go to your second. And while you are, sorry, I have to stay back here so I can get the recording. I'm so not used to standing in place. While you are putting together the chart, what you should be considering is which side is easier to fill out, right? So for the first two blocks, those first two rows, focus on evidence from the podcast. And then on that third one, focus on evidence from the website. If you used evidence from the website already, that's totally fine. It's just going to be a matter of how you'll be shaping your paragraph eventually. Okay? So far, which one was easier to fill out, guys? Guilty or innocent? Both, yeah, yes. Ashton, what do you think? Both? Okay, let's keep moving. Let's see if you still feel that way after you do 4 more of these. So if you are watching this from home, what you should be working on right now is completing each side of this, typing in what I think and evidence that supports it. And just some reminders about evidence. Evidence are concrete details. So these concrete details need to be presented from the narrator and producers and facts. It should relate to alibis, dates, times, locations, witnesses, etc. And it's used to argue or prove your side of the case. So it's not your opinion when we're looking at that actual evidence. We need to have concrete details and facts to support it. So you start with your opinion, what I think, and then you get concrete details to back up what you think. So we're going to take about 10 more minutes, and if you are watching from home, take about 10 minutes to finish completing that chart. Okay, quick check-in. How are we doing with the chart? Oh, sorry, no, I will stop talking then. Just give me a thumbs up, you're still working on the chart? Perfect, okay, I'm gonna stop talking then, I won't interrupt you. Okay, guys, quick check-in. How are we doing? Okay, are we ready to move on to the paragraph shaping sheet? Okay. All right, so putting together a paragraph, obviously we want to have topic sentences, evidence, and analysis. Now here's my quick question for you guys. Are all of you familiar with the TLQ model from freshman year? Does that language make sense to you? Okay, if not, that's okay, because it's not the model that I typically use. Okay, so then if that part is not familiar to you, I don't want you to get tripped up by it, okay? So here's an example from last year's text. If you were in a class that read this book of Mice and Men, for a reminder about how evidence and analysis work together. So the claim in this case is Steinbeck highlights the loneliness that was commonplace in the California ranch lifestyle of the 1930s. So evidence one, George Tilleney. Guys like us, they ain't got nobody in the world that gives a hoot in hell about them. Analysis, which is also like commentary. These two men have common experiences, including absence of family, lack of stable employment, and no permanent place to call home. Because of all that, because all of that is missing in their lives, they often feel isolated, insignificant, and ultimately depressed. So as you can see, the writer is not simply restating what the evidence is. And that's kind of the biggest mistake that I see students making, that analysis is hard. It's hard to figure out what kind of commentary to write. So for our purposes for this paragraph and the text that we're using with serial, you guys are going to choose a side. Adnan is guilty or he is innocent. And this should be reflected in your claim. So the claim, after evaluating the claims and evidence presented, it is reasonable to believe that Adnan Syed, the accused protagonist in the hit podcast Serial, is, so you make your decision. And then you go back to the evidence that you've been gathering and you figure out, okay, this is the evidence that I'm going to use. And then your analysis part is where you are diving into the water, right? You are digging deep into that analysis or digging deep into the evidence to explain why that evidence is a compelling reason that this man is either innocent or guilty. Questions for me so far? No? Easy peasy? Nice. Okay. It always seems easy until we sit down to write. All right, so I'm curious, Connor, guilty or innocent? Guilty. Okay, Ashton? Innocent. Oh, I love it. Okay, good. Then we can compare your paragraphs to each other. All right, so you delete whichever one you're not using. And then for your first piece of evidence, when you go back to that chart, I want you to choose a point that came from the podcast. And then the analysis is the so what, right? It's your commentary. So if you're working from home right now, what you should be doing is making that claim, is Adnan guilty or innocent, putting together your evidence, and then writing your analysis, explaining how the evidence you listed supports your claim. And you'll repeat that 3 times. And then your concluding sentence based on the evidence presented, Adnan Syed should or should not be found guilty of the murder of Hae Min Lee. Hi, what's your name?
Michael.
Michael, nice to meet you in person. All right, have a seat. on the serial?
Can I pull on my laptop here?
Oh, of course.
I know I started on it pretty far ahead.
Okay, good. We are on the paragraph shaping sheet where you're making a decision whether or not Adnan is guilty or innocent.
Oh yeah, I'm not there yet.
Okay. So then you know what you'll be working on today.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I just? Yeah, you'll be exact after. Okay, yeah.
My phone with that just shut off or something.
Oh, no.
It's good now. Well.
Okay. I really need to get a charger in here. Because just a heads up, make sure you charge your Chromebooks, because I do not have a charger for it. So Michael just kind of asked, well, why do you go by Michael or Mike?
I go by Mikey or yeah.
Mike, okay, that's easy to remember. I am teaching live on Zoom as
Yes,
well, so
so
you can always log in if you want to.
I've been having problems trying to. Sorry, I apologize for this. I've been trying to sign in on Zoom, and I everything's not working out. But I'm trying to sign in on Zoom, and it's I don't know my password, and I have to call the district number.
Yeah.
And reset it all. I'm doing that after school today.
Okay, you can always access it afterwards because I'm recording it, and I'll post it later.
Oh, thank you. My Chromebook is choosing not to respond right now.
Okay, do you have any of the apps on your phone, like school or anything like that?
I do not.
Okay, that might be a good thing to.
Yeah, here, I'll download those right now.
Okay. Also, while you're on campus, you can go and see Miss Samwell in the library. She's our librarian, but she's also a tech guru.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, you could probably check in with her because she might, I don't know, maybe figure out a new Chromebook or something.
This is actually gonna say my first trade.
Oh,
It's
geez.
the one they gave me.
Okay.
The one I got the keys, but I had like 3 keys fall off, and then half the keyboard stopped working. And I was like in the middle of writing an essay.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's not your fault, so.
If I wanted to let me work, I would have pressed like a million times.
Yeah, you definitely need a new one.
Do you know why they switched to Schoology?
Something about Google Classroom not being available for free anymore.
Is it just one sentence of evidence and one sentence of
So my recommendation is always either a 1-to-2 ratio or a 2-to-3 ratio. But if you have one sentence of evidence, you always want to have 2 sentences of commentary or analysis. Because the thing about analysis, and here's the problem with like distance learning and stuff like that. If we were in normal times right now, you guys would be sitting in my classroom.
This is what we're missing.
Yes. Yeah, totally. And you'd be sitting in a room with 32 of you guys, and I would be giving you guys this big explanation about how analysis is, there's 2 ways to look at analysis. Analysis that is in like the C and D range is standing in a puddle, right? And analysis in the A range is you are diving into a lake, going down to the bottom and seeing what else is under the surface, right? So it's not enough to say for your evidence and analysis, okay, Asia's letter says that Adnan was in the library. Well, you know, when you're analyzing that, you can say, okay, that's compelling, but was there anyone else there? If you're arguing that he's guilty, why didn't she come forward initially? What took her all of this time? Why doesn't Adnan remember? That is not enough to have an eyewitness account. Plus Jay, like we were just saying, Jay changes his story. Jay is admitting that he was an accessory to murder. So what is his motivation here? Is it just so he doesn't get caught? Or does he have a reason to lie? Which I think he does. So when you're analyzing things, you can really dig into that. All of those questions you guys brought up when we were first talking at the beginning of class, that's your analysis. Does that kind of make sense? Yeah, I think sometimes we get caught up with this idea of I got 2 to 3 sentences. When really we have all of the ideas in our minds, it's just a matter of getting them on paper. Does that kind of make sense? Yeah. Okay, so there's like a week's worth of analysis lesson for you guys in like 30 seconds. But hopefully that helps. And the worst part is I didn't do it on camera, so all the people that have this missed my beautiful explanation. Such a bummer. I need a microphone.
I downloaded the school phone.
Oh, give me 1 second. Sorry.
Turn around over there.
Okay, sorry.
I downloaded Schoology and I'm trying to sign in. I don't know my password for Schoology. I just had Schoology on my phone.
You log in with your GUHSD Google account.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's your same password that you would use to get into like your email.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully. But again, Miss Sandvold might know the tricks around it.
I think she did. I think she might.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you're working from home, what I want you to remember is that your task for Thursday is to finish that paragraph shaping sheet. And then tomorrow, only about a half an hour's worth of work. Reading the New York Times article, writing that 5-sentence summary, and the reaction, so that we can really understand the difference between objective summary and personalized reaction. That and the grammar and smart sentences, those are your tasks for the week. Please make sure that you get those in by 11:59 p.m. on Friday. And I really encourage you to listen to the remaining 11 episodes of Serial. And also you can check out this preview for the HBO doc series and find its episodes on YouTube. So you can ask yourself, what do you think really happened? So I hope you have a great day. For my Friday learners, I will see you guys tomorrow. And I'm logging off Zoom now.